Time Warner Cable and Metro Sports presents RacinBoys TV with Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott. A look at racing in the Midwest and around the country. Brought to you in part by McCarthy Chevrolet and RacinBoys.com.
Welcome back to another edition of RacinBoys TV, brought to you by McCarthy Chevrolet here on Time Warner Cable's Metro Sports. I'm Scott Traylor along with Kirk Elliott. We are the RacinBoys from Sports Radio 810 WHB, and we are at Valley Speedway. We'll get into a little news about Valley Speedway here in a moment, but Kirk, we have a lot of great guests on this week.
And the 52nd annual Knoxville Nationals has just been completed. We're going to visit with the first-year general manager of Knoxville Raceway. It's big shoes to fill when Ralph Capitani retired last year. Toby Cruz will be here on the show. And also, we're going to focus in on some pavement racing, too. Lebanon I-44 Speedway. Talk about the big event that went on down there last weekend. Gary Joslin, local guy and big supporter of racing in the Kansas City area, as well as Dalton Kirk, a young driver, and the promoter of Lebanon I-44 Speedway, Kevin Grieven, will be joining us here on RacinBoys TV.
And in segment number 2, we're going to have Dennis Shrout, some big news out of Valley Speedway this week. We'll get into that here in just a little bit, but before we do all of that, it's time for the RacinBoys TV highlight.
The 52nd annual Knoxville Nationals reached its climax on Saturday night. Dusty Zomer takes a wild ride in the B main. Fortunately, he's okay. A big surprise, both Sammy Swindell and Steve Kinzer not able to make the transfer. It's the first time in 36 years the 12-time Nationals winner Kinzer has not made the show. Donnie Schatz in the 15, going for his 6th Knoxville prize in 7 years, makes an early move on Craig Delansky as Brian Brown in the 21 makes his presence felt. Pole sitter Stevie Smith has led from the start, but Schatz is closing in. Down to the bottom he goes as the leader drifts high on lap 13 of 50. Schatz is able to make it stick off turn 4. We're past the halfway break, and Brown blasts to the inside of Delansky for second and now has Schatz in sight. Meanwhile, Smith has faded out of the top 5 as Craig Kinzer and Jason Myers advance. Schatz seems to widen the gap as Brown gets caught behind the lap car of Lucas Wolf. But once in the clear, Brown is still right there with the leader. Schatz pulls out to what seems like an insurmountable margin, but Brown is not giving up. White flag is out and lap traffic a factor. Look out. Donnie gets loose off turn 4. Brown still has a chance and falls just short. Wow. Delansky settles for third with Craig Kinzer and Myers in the top 5. The celebration never gets old or routine for Donnie Schatz.
You know, the guys had the car pretty decent. The track was very treacherous, had to be cautious. The cushion would just drag you up in there pretty easy, and you could get up through it and about hit the fence. So, you know, you had to try to run a smart race, and tried to run all the race smart, but the last couple laps there I didn't do as good a job as I should have, but you know, it was enough to get the job done. Brian was coming, but lucky it was only 50 laps.
You know, there the last 25, I got by Delansky, and I felt like, okay, now let's see what we got. And I started running Donnie down, and I was going to slide him in one corner, then I made a mistake off turn 2 and lost a lot of ground. And I felt like, okay, it's over. And then we got to traffic, and we started kind of played out the way I thought it was, and I just needed him to get caught up one second, and he I feel like he made maybe a little mistake on the last corner, last lap, and we made a good run. We just came up a little bit short, but I'm not going to take anything away from our team. We've got a really great team and really proud of every single one of them. Casey's General Store, FVP, Searsboro Telephone Company, Impact, Champion Brands, Champion Oil, Maxim, every single person, Dittsfield Transfer on this whole entire team I'm really proud of, and my crew works really, really hard, and just it's an honor to represent Kansas City RacinBoys and run second in the Knoxville Nationals.
Thursday night at Valley Speedway, it's the opening round of the hunt for the USMTS National Championship. Kelly Shryock on the pole, but Ryan Gustin in the 19 wastes little time, powering to the outside in turn 4 and the lead. Local driver Shad Batter gets past Randy Timms for third with plenty of action throughout the rest of the field. Meanwhile, Gustin widens the gap while Terry Phillips takes over second. Timms drops out due to mechanical problems, and Shryock fades to 6th. Off the final turn to the checkered flag, Gustin scores his 60th career USMTS victory. At Lakeside Speedway, factory stocks have provided lots of action, but in the end, Marshall Jewett emerges with his second win of 2012. B-Mod's up next, and it's the Blue 25 everyone was talking about at the end of the night. After winning his heat, Tim Billings gets the outside front row for the start, and he's set to run the high side. Billings makes it count in a big way with his first feature win in a B-Mod. Marshall Jewett in the 6th Grand National goes for his second victory circle visit of the night. That's David Holcomb in the 46 on the outside. 9 Don Mars and 2M Jeff Miles make up row 2. Jewett gets the early advantage, but 2 laps later drops back as Miles spins and somehow avoids getting hit. Mars drops to the inside off Holcomb and into the lead. Lap 5, Mars gets a stiff challenge from Jewett, but methodically pulls out to a huge margin. The big 3 of Kelby Ostrander, Gary Donaldson, and Darren Kling race for the 3rd spot as Jewett falls just short of the double. Don Mars celebrates his first feature win in 3 years. Modifieds make up the final race of the night. Scott Crystal in the 5 and 77 Cody Agler up front at the drop of the green. Agler roars to the point, and it first appears he's well on his way, but here comes Kerry Davis, who started 9th in this 25-lap race. These two battle hard on the fast track until Agler drifts way high in turn 4, and Davis pounces on the opportunity by staying low and making the pass stick. He still has work left, as by this time Tim Carrick has made his way to 2nd. Final lap, Davis attempts to hold back Carrick's late charge, and he gets it done with his 2nd Lakeside victory of the year. Let's travel south to Lebanon, Missouri for some pavement racing at I-44 Speedway, the United States Super Truck Series main event. J.J. Sonneveld in the RacinBoys 69 passes Eric Cottle for the lead, and he's gone way out in front, but hold on. A late yellow and a straight-up double-file restart puts Ron Hartford in the 97 on the outside of the leader, and it pays off for the veteran from Raytown, Missouri, who motors on to a stunning win, joining Mike Sloan in late models and Ricky Eisenhower in modifieds in the I-44 winner circle.
Again, we want to congratulate all of last week's winners in the local racing scene. When we come back, we're going to visit with local promoter out at Valley Speedway, Dennis Rout.
Okay, let's choose up. I'll take Jamal and Tutal. You can have Chubbs and Skippy. Let's go. My ball.
Okay, but you got skins.
Not a good negotiator? You don't have to be a good negotiator at McCarthy Chevrolet. McCarthy guarantees the lowest prices on a new Chevy, or we'll pay you $10,000. We guarantee there's no need to shop anyplace else. McCarthy Chevrolet, I-35 and Santa Fe, Olathe.
Welcome back to RacinBoys TV, brought to you by McCarthy Chevrolet here on Time Warner Cable's Metro Sports. We're the RacinBoys, and Kirk, we came out to Valley Speedway to record some segments for RacinBoys TV this week, and we see dump trucks moving in and out of the racetrack. First thing that comes to mind is they had a monster truck here last weekend. They obviously are removing that dirt from the racetrack, but that wasn't the case.
No, and this is usually a project you wait till the off season, but Dennis Trout, the general manager and promoter here at Valley Speedway, had an opportunity. I mean, this track gets a lot of use during the year with 2 nights a weekend, and they haven't had a rain out all year, so the condition of the racetrack not quite like it was early in the season.
Cars are leaving the track each and every week. You think about it, 2 nights a week, cars got the dirt on them, they roll out of here, that dirt falls off, you got to replace that as time goes on. So we thought we'd talk to Dennis Trout about the new clay they've put on Valley Speedway.
We've been working with the construction people. They're putting a new interchange here in Grain Valley, and they've been bringing out some of the material and putting here at the racetrack and the pits and stuff. And this morning they got into some really nice clay, and so we decided to put the clay on the track. It's going to probably be $20,000 to $30,000 worth of work done. We really didn't want to put it on this time of year, but I'm an opportunist and seem to save some money, so we're going to get some clay on the track and should be in good shape for this weekend. Just the opportunity mainly is the reason we're doing it. We were going to try to do it after the season was over, but they got into it this morning, and whenever the the opportunity is there, we decided to go ahead and do it. You know, usually the fast guys are the ones that never complain. The guys up front, you give them a rough track and they're going to make the best of it and do something with it. So actually the fast guys very rarely ever say anything. So hopefully they're going to have a good track this weekend. Yeah, we'll start sheep's footing it this afternoon. They've put in probably, I'm going to guess probably 50 or 60 loads already today, and they're going to put in probably another 30 or 40 loads. So we've got a lot of dirt coming in, and we'll start sheep's footing it this afternoon and start putting some water on it. Maybe Mother Nature will help us a little bit and get it packed in. And then we're going to put a blade on it and blade it probably Wednesday before it rains Thursday, hopefully. It works out good for them and us. They had a lot of it to get rid of that we were going to put it in the pits and some other areas, but I couldn't see just wasting it in that area whenever we really needed it on the track. The track was really bellied out. Racing twice a week, if everybody takes 10, 15 pounds of dirt home with them every night, We got 200 cars every weekend. It's a lot of dirt that goes out of here every weekend, so it's tough to keep it on there. They're putting in a shopping center on one corner, a new gas station on the other corner. They're moving 40 highway on the other corner and changing the interchange around on the back side of the gas station. On all four corners they're doing something. Yeah. They're hauling, moving dirt, changing the roads, and they've just got something going everywhere. Probably about 100 loads, and that's loads. Those are side dump 40-foot long trailers. It's about 2 regular dump trucks full of dirt every time they dump a load. We're putting the really clean clay on the track. If it's got any rocks or any debris in it that looks like it would be a problem on the track, we're putting it in the pit area, and then we can cover it up down there. So, and it pretty much stays put. Out here, as they race, you know, if there's any debris in it, it eventually comes to the top. They're burning their fuel, their trucks, and their machinery right now, so it's saving us a lot of money. So hopefully it pays off for everybody. They're out there, they're digging, they're making my pond deeper too. They needed some extra water up there, so they've got a machine down there now making the pond about 10 foot deeper. So this is working out good for us all the way around. Now we pretty much, you know, got most of our major races are done. We got 2 ASC races left, and then our Weld Wheel Memorial race coming up. So we got just kind of going for the home stretch here pretty quick. Honestly, the really strange thing right now is we haven't had a rain out yet. We've had about 40 events with no rain outs, and that's unheard of. The drivers, you know, usually they get a few weekends off, you know, with rain outs, and they haven't had a break either. So I'm thinking everybody's kind of getting tired right now and short on money.
Well, there you have the owner and promoter of Valley Speedway here in Grain Valley, Missouri, Dennis Schrout. And Kirk, tough decision for Dennis right now to bring in this dirt towards the end of the season. You know that's going to probably lead to rough conditions. But let's face it, we've heard it from time to time that people have complained about the rough conditions out here. And not only are you replenishing the dirt that's been removed from the racetrack, but you're also trying to satisfy the racers for in the future with that clay.
Yeah, the short term probably not as great, but you got to think about what this will do to the track in the long term, make it a better racing surface for everybody down the road. But yeah, I agree with you, Scott. Adding dirt onto a racetrack in the middle of the season, not the most ideal thing to do.
When we come back, we're going to mosey on down the road, down Highway 13, and then just east on 44, we're going to be going down to Lebanon I-44 Speedway. They have a new promoter, plus they had the United States Super Truck Series racing there last weekend. We'll be back with more RacinBoys TV here in a moment.
Okay, let's choose up. I'll take Jamal and Tutal. You can have Chubbs and Skippy. Let's go. My ball.
Okay. But you got skins.
Not a good negotiator? You don't have to be a good negotiator at McCarthy Chevrolet. McCarthy guarantees the lowest prices on a new Chevy or we'll pay you $10,000. We guarantee there's no need to shop anyplace else. McCarthy Chevrolet, I-35 and Santa Fe, Olathe.
Welcome back to RacinBoys TV, brought to you by McCarthy Chevrolet here on Time Warner Cable's Metro Sports. As most people know, I-70 Speedway has been closed down now for 4 years. Lakeside covered up their asphalt in 2000, not giving many of the drivers in this area an opportunity to race on pavement. Many drivers have worked their way down south to the little town just east of Springfield, Lebanon's I-44 Speedway. The United States Super Truck Series was racing there last weekend, and while we were there, we talked to some of the competitors as well as the new general manager of Lebanon's I-44 Speedway, Kevin Green.
I think the opportunities with Kansas City are growing. I mean, Scott, you look at asphalt racing, we're the closest thing. You got to go about 300 miles either way. You got to get up close to Chicago that direction, or you got to get almost to Texas the other direction. So it kind of gives us a niche. I mean, for those guys, we'd love to see a lot more racers from the Kansas City market area come down here, and we're getting some of them now. I know it's a long haul for them. I know there's fuel involved in getting down here and back, but we're trying to get this thing back to what it was when Bill had it back in the day, back when that 75 car was making all the laps down here and at I-70 and Lakeside as far as that goes. The United States Super Truck Series is who we've got in here tonight. They came down here the end of May, kind of right before I transitioned into things down here at Lebanon I-44 Speedway, but the fans love them. I mean, they get excited about them coming in. You look around at some of the drivers that are here tonight. Had a great conversation with Gary Jocelyn at a Kansas City market area. It's actually got 6 of those trucks up there. I know you've been an owner of a couple of them in the past. It was I-70 racing and the trucks. That was just a great a great class that they had up there, and United States Super Truck Series, that was one of the places that they love to come racing. So we know there's quite a few of those up there. We've got several Oklahoma boys here tonight. We're looking at an opportunity next year to try to bring the trucks down here once a month is what the goal is, what we'd like to do. We need to build that truck count a little bit more to make it make sense, to put on a good show for the fans and to make it make sense for the trucks and the track as far as that goes. A lot of the focus has been on the late models because this is late model country, always has been. But it's always also been a huge, back in the 90s when you used to run here, and back, a Ricky Eisenhower and a Mike Goldsberry and a Dale Roper and some of the bigger names. Mod racing was big at that point, and you're exactly right. We'd love to see some of those mod racers come down here and give us a shot. Joe Ross comes down quite a bit with both his late model and his modified, and does a great job. But we know there's a lot more great modifieds up in that Kansas City area, and that's something we're trying to grow. We've ran 18 to 22 late models out here, so that class is putting on a pretty good show and building it up. But we want to get we want to really work on that modified stuff. We could go through names of everybody that's cut their teeth here, and it's well documented, and we've been fortunate enough to have a lot of that type of stuff. And there's a lot of names that I could name right now as far as young talent that's out here running in our modifieds, running in our sportsmen, and running in our late models. For instance, Matt Wallace. Matt Wallace is actually second. That's Mike Wallace's son, nationwide driver. Actually second in our ASA late model points right now.
Truck racing died out when I-70 quit. We're trying to bring it back. Lebanon's a beautiful asphalt track with a perfectly asphalted infield. Yeah, I brought two down this week. Ronnie Hartford, the guy that won last week, 9-time champion out I-70 days. A new kid, Dalton Kirk, he's from Edgerton, Kansas. Champion, B-Mod champion up at Heartland, over here at Moberly. It had a lot of fun racing down there, I guess. Well, this Dalton Kirk kid, he was 16 out winning championships, and he's never raced asphalt. He's like 5-6-time go-kart champion over at Thunder Lake. He's in the truck and doing real well. Had a couple times around tonight and looked real fast. Yeah. So I'm excited to have him. He's from Edgerton, so we're trying to help the local guys back in Kansas City. That's good. The Raytown Rocket, they call him, and he's that fast. He's got the best shoe. I've seen him get in other people's vehicles, and they're a whole second faster than they were in their own vehicle. Right. So his shoe goes a long way. Nice guy. You put him against Ron Horner today in the truck class with a good piece. Yeah. He'd race someday. We'd still pull further if we had to. It's still an hour pull out to I-70. So a couple hours more, and it's a great track. Good fans. Right. 4 or 5 other classes run real well. And I'll tell you what, they got 6 really good classes. They got real nice late models. The trucks have been very welcome. We had 13 the first time, got 9 this time. Some good competitive races, and this is asphalt. I miss it bad. We don't want to grow trees in our asphalt facility. We want to use our asphalt facility. Guys come to I-70 with their late models, they're scared of the track. They don't even want to practice. Right. They came in 28 late models one time. They went home with 8 of them not tore up. That's racing, baby.
We got real lucky. We got Johnson Jewelry as a sponsor, and he got me in one of his trucks and wanted to see me in an asphalt truck. So he came down here, tried out, and that's how I made it here. I'd like to start running asphalt a little more, just get used to running on it, and we'll run dirt, just because that's just fun. And I definitely want to make it further on asphalt, and so I guess we're just going to try to run asphalt as much as we can and just get more experience on it.
Really had a good time down at Lebanon's I-44 Speedway. It was great to see the United States Super Truck Series down there. Ron Hartford, congratulations on your win. JJ Sonnevelt, sorry for your bad luck. When we come back, Kirk Elliott is going to talk to the new general manager of Knoxville Raceway, Toby Cruz.
A new cable network just for guys. Gaming, gadgets, comedy, gorgeous girls, and how about this? Cable TV's biggest lineup of grassroots racing. MAV TV's got Lucas Oil Off-Road, AMA motorbikes, P1 power boats, and even pro pulling events. We don't make the fuel. We just help you burn it. Call your local cable or satellite distributor and demand MAV TV. Or go to mavtv.com and request it. MAV TV, a man-sized cable network.
Welcome back to RacinBoys TV on Metro Sports, brought to you by McCarthy Chevrolet. The biggest dirt track event of the season wrapped up over this past weekend with the 52nd running of the Knoxville Nationals. The famed Knoxville Raceway under the guidance of first-year general manager Toby Cruz, who had some big shoes to fill after Ralph Capitani, who held the position of race director for some 35 years, retired this past year.
just you know, growing up in Boone, having a local racetrack there, went with the family, mom, dad, twin sister, a couple older brothers. We always went as a family for years, just as race fans. Nobody in the family raced or did any promoting. I just very interested in sport. We used to race bikes, and I was always a flag man because I wasn't old enough to race. And so when I was 18, I actually started announcing and flagging car races. And from the time I was 18 up until the current time, I've always probably hit about 120 to 140 races a year, and been fortunate to travel the entire U.S. seeing car races. Been to Canada several occasions, and Australia, taking in the races there, and have just been very fortunate to turn a passion or something like that into a career. And so yeah, and then once I did the flagging, announcing, worked concession stands, sold programs, do the track prep, you name it, and so been able to touch on all the different facets of being involved with the racetrack. It definitely is. And then to follow somebody like Cappy, I mean, everybody knew Cappy, the history he had, you know, over 40 years, and he and Arleta for years, it was the two of them in that office pretty much doing everything. And you know, we've seen the infield get paved, we saw the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame go up, seen the bleachers continue expand from the old wooden bleachers to the current, you know, 40 rows aluminum bleachers, the suites around the place, and it's amazing what it's done. But I think it's a testament to, you know, the the racers, the fans, everybody that converges here every August, and has made this into the event that it is today. You know, it's crazy. You take a community like this of 7,700, and the way it swells. I mean, this track's the third largest seating facility in the state of Iowa, 25,000 permanent seats, plus you throw in the suites and such. And the people, it's like, I was fortunate enough for 5 years going down to Belleville and announcing the Midget Nationals, and it has that same type of feel and atmosphere. The locals, they take in people from around the world, let them stay at their house, let them park in their house, kind of like when Iowa has Ragbri with a bike race that goes across the state. You know, the businesses take very good care of the people, and the community appreciates everyone spending their hard-earned dollars and coming here, you know, and taking in the 360 Nationals through the 410 Nationals, and that's what makes it work. The community loves having everyone here and being involved. And I think, but it's funny, you know, I talk to some people that come here, whether it's from the U.S. or some people that I've got to become friends with from Australia and New Zealand. It's like they can't believe the way people take in, but we get the same thing when you go down under. You get that same hospitality, and it's like what's mine is yours. If you need to stay in the house, you need to borrow the car, whatever. And it's just neat how people extend that. But there is definitely something to be said about the Midwest and Iowa hospitality. And that's a crazy thing. Grew up 80 miles away, came down here. I remember back in the probably as early as I can remember, you know, into the 70s and late 70s, and watching these guys race, and it was crazy back then. You got to see Sammy Swindell and Steve Kinzer, and here they're both on top of their game, along with so many different drivers. Watch Lasowski going near the 100 win mark and things like that. And so to be involved with a place like this and growing up in central Iowa, it's almost surreal at some points in time.
Kirk, I got to believe that Toby Cruz is the right man for the job up there at Knoxville Raceway. Cappy doing a great job the last 35 years, but it's always time to try to bring in some new ideas, and we saw that this year at the Knoxville Nationals.
Yeah, a big change in the format for Friday night's program. That was Toby's idea and drew some rave reviews after the races on Friday night. Certainly put a spark in this year's Nationals. Also like the fact that Toby comes from the state of Iowa, grew up not far from Knoxville, went to the races, and understands the history and traditions of the famous Knoxville Raceway. Very important experience at this position.
We want to say congratulations to Donnie Schatz for his 6th Knoxville Nationals win, but more importantly, one of our own right here from Green Valley, Missouri, Brian Brown, comes home second.
He almost pulled it off as Donnie got up into the loose stuff coming off turn 4, and maybe another lap, Brian Brown might have been able to pull that off, but congratulations to both those guys.
Maybe next year, Brian. Hopefully you can pull that off. For Kirk Elliott, I'm Scott Traylor. We'll see you next week right here on RacinBoys TV.